Live from Longshots Bar and Grill in historic downtown Woodward, it's the Woodward Boomers Coaches Show. Brought to you by High Plains Tire. And now your host, Brock Campbell.
And good evening, Boomer fans. And we're live from Longshots Bar and Grill. Once again, Brock Campbell, Tyler Riggs, and got one game under our belt. Unfortunately, 0-1, game that we probably should have had. We went back, actually, and had a chance at the end, minus all the miscues that we had. But 0-1 for the Boomers as they start their football season. Want to say, first of all, High Plains Tire, our sponsor, this says where your dollar goes further, and so do your tires. And great people at High Plains Tire. I highly recommend you go there.
Oh, yeah.
They will take care of you like you would not believe. So I got new tires recently, and they hooked me up, and everything is just gravy after you do business with them. So anyways, we're going to be talking about the last game, like I said, at Clinton. Looking forward to the game at Bethany this Friday against the Bethany Broncos. 0-2 on the year. They are trying to replace 17 starters on both sides of the ball. They only have 3 returning starters on offense and defense. This is a game that the Boomers have a very good shot of winning on the road.
Well, not only that, Brock, it's going to tell us a lot about how this Boomer team's going to rebound, how they deal with getting over the adversity of those turnovers we talked about. That was probably the difference in the game, the biggest thing you could point to. So how do you bounce back next week knowing how you finish strong against Clinton, against still probably talented Bethany team? Yeah,
it's a talented team. It's just very young, and we'll talk more about that when we get to the football segment. But we're going to also have softball once again on the first half hour. We have 3 guests, so we're getting more and more people that come in at one time, so that's fine. We're going to have they're all juniors, junior catcher Justyce Wilson, junior center fielder Airyn Farley, and junior third baseman Lily Nippert, and then also Coach Ben Hall in the second 15 of that first half hour. Then the second half hour, we're going to have, I'm going to call it, you're not going to like it, but I love calling it the Frugal Connection. Sam Cheap and Max Cheap, the Frugal Connection. I've given them that name, and that's how it's going to be, cheap to cheap this year. Frugal Connection. And then also head coach Rick Luetjen will be also with us in the back half of that last half hour. So we want to take your calls as well, 580-256-3692, 580-256-3692. You can call us and if you have a question for any of our guests or coaches, by all means. But if you're too shy to call us, you can text us, and I'm giving my number out. I'm putting myself out there, 405-204-4246, 405-204-4246. Please keep it clean. Don't send me anything bad. Just ask some good questions for our guests. So with that, we're going to take our first break. We're coming back, and we're going to talk to these 3 junior softball players. You're listening to the Boomer Coaches Show on Z92.
Why watch the big games alone when you could stop by Longshots Bar and Grill to catch all the action? Longshots offers the best entertainment in Northwest Oklahoma and is open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m., and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Enjoy live music, great food, and drinks while you catch all the big games. There's always fun to be had at Longshots Bar and Grill. Call 580-256-1467 to book your next birthday bash or big reunion, then come on down to 810 Main Street to party with Longshots Bar and Grill.
Every 2 minutes, a child becomes a victim of sex trafficking in the U.S. It's happening right now. Don't turn off the radio or change the channel. Don't cover your kids' ears, no matter how much you want to ignore it. Child trafficking is real. In fact, it's happening in your town. And you know what our greatest weapon against child trafficking is? It's our children. It's time to act with PACT. That's Partners Against Child Trafficking. PACT works to teach students how to identify the warning signs of child trafficking so they can help other vulnerable kids around them. PACT student ambassadors receive in-depth training on the issue and design a project to raise awareness, reduce victimization, and disrupt demand. Visit pact.city to start donating today. That's PACT.CITY. And for as little as $5 a month, you can help end child exploitation.
Pass it on.
Now's the time to stay apart. Social distancing. But I'm adding something else. Pull together. What's pulling together while we're staying apart? It's calling family to check in on them. It's waving to your neighbor. It's the things we should have been doing all along. And when this tragedy passes
I
and
told
we're
you.
able to come together, we'll be stronger than ever because we've already pulled together. Stay apart. Pull together.
Pass it on.
From PassItOn.com.
And welcome back to Long Shots Live. Welcome back to Long Shots Park and Grill. Brock Campbell, Tyler Riggs. I will get my wits about me, and I am old, so have to bear with me. My partner has heard that many times. I depend on his young eyes at the football field. But we have a full house tonight. We're joined by 3 junior softball players: Justyce Wilson, the catcher, center fielder Airyn Farley, and also the third baseman Lily Nippert. Hey, ladies, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Justyce, I have to go to you first, and I have to make an observation.
Okay.
Because I was a catcher myself before moving to right field. But when you play softball, you have this look on your face that nobody wants to mess with you on that field. Are you just in the zone and just ultra focused when you're on the field?
It's just the intimidation factor that I try to give out.
You're intimidating me.
I try to intimidate the other team to make them know that I am above them.
And you're an aggressive catcher, too, because you frequently like to, run base runners back to the base, or frequently throw down to third or first or wherever to, keep them close. Is that another kind of tactic that you have out there? Is like, hey, I see you. You're not going anywhere?
Yeah. I just try to be the best I can and be the most aggressive to be the best.
Well, you guys have only had one game since Arnett, and a shortened one at that last night at Guthrie that was shortened by lightning. Lily, what have you guys been working on as a team wise to get better, and then also on your personal level?
We've been working on a lot of small ball, because usually other teams do that as well, like bunting and stuff like that. We've been trying to work on that more, and it does help. It does produce runs a lot more when we do stuff right like that.
So you're just working on manufacturing runs, not having to have to rely on a base hit in certain times of the game.
Yeah, and also attitude. We're trying to work on that too.
Yeah, we need to be more positive, and we're doing pretty good on it so far.
Well, I mean, we've seen you play a couple times. At least I have seen you play, and the attitude for the most part, you guys are staying positive, even though it's not the season that you're wanting right now. But that's going to happen with, losing 9 seniors, 8 starters. We talked about this with Coach Hall a couple weeks ago. But you guys are basically rebuilding and regrowing as a team. So let's talk about the team's that leads me into my next question. I did that perfectly. Talk about the team's chemistry. Like I said, you lost all those starters. What's the chemistry like with this team right now?
I think we're doing pretty good. As a team together, we lift each other up when we have a bad play. We kind of just encourage each other to be the best that we can do and to our best ability. And I think we're doing pretty good so far. I mean, at the beginning it was a little rough because we were getting used to each other, but now that we've kind of bonded more and we've gotten to know each other a little more and become on a deeper connection towards each other, it's been a lot smoother throughout the year.
And even though you were a sophomore last year, you kind of were a leader on the team as well with all those seniors. Is that something that you really kind of had to pick up even more this year?
I mean, all of us just try to be the best that we can. We focus on each other first, and then we go to other people. Say someone makes a bad play, I try to do my best to encourage the other and say it's okay, you'll get the next one. And we all do pretty good on that.
Well, let's talk to Airyn real quick, see if we can get her all mic'd up. But Airyn, since you lost all that production from last year with the big hitters, what have you learned so far about your individual game and also the team up to this point? What are your observations?
We've been doing really good. We've been focusing a lot on positivity and the way to handle situations like we've been in. When we make a bad throw, we've been positive, picking each other up, and just staying in the game and focusing really good on not making another error and stuff like that.
Well, you're entering district play where every game starts to really count. Let's talk about the keys to getting some more W's in the win column as we head down the stretch. What are some of the keys for this team to get some W's in district?
Definitely communication is key. We need to talk more, which we have been a lot, but I feel like when we do it more, when we are in the dugout chanting, we do better. Our attitudes just rise and rise more when we scream. We get in their heads basically. When we're down, it's like we don't know what's going on, but when we're up, like, it definitely gets us going.
For example, like the Carl Albert game that we went up against, we all expected to get run ruled. I mean, we were just all like getting down on ourselves, but we were just like, you know what, let's be positive, let's make the most like fun out of this game, and let's just do our best. And we held with them all the way until the 6th inning, and they only beat us by 2.
Yeah.
We did really good that game because we were all really positive and we were all pepped up and we were all in the dugout cheering for everyone, and it was a good game.
Well, I just everybody needs to know this team is growing. It's just a growing year. It's a rebuilding year. It's a tough district too after losing on that protection.
Insanely tough.
So don't get discouraged with this Boomer team, because if it doesn't happen this year, this team's going to come back even better next year. So let's not talk about business now. Let's get to know you guys a little bit. What's your favorite thing to do other than softball? First for you, Justyce.
I don't know. I like doing a lot of things. I love art. I love doing anything that has to do with art. I do a lot of arts and crafts. I'll build random things around the house, and I think it's just really fun to do stuff like that.
What about you, Airyn, or Lily, whoever wants to answer
I like
that?
to stay productive. When I'm like just at home sitting, I'm like bored, so I always like want to keep doing something. So like I either go outside, play with my dogs, I watch Netflix or something. I have to keep my like body moving. So I do a lot of sports. I also play soccer and I dance. And I also love to go to the lake with my family, like spending time with my family and friends. Like these two, we always go to the lake. Our family is really close. They're like my 2 other sisters. Like, I love spending time with my friends and family.
Who's the class clown? Who's the most focused on the team?
I have to agree. I might be the class clown. It's either me or Lily. We both are like really clumsy and we laugh about everything. We make everything a joke. I have to say Justyce is the most focused.
I would agree with that, yes.
Her face, like you said, yes.
And, well, ladies, we wish you the best of luck the rest of your season. We're supposed to play Piedmont tomorrow, but it's not looking like it's going to happen as this field is basically underwater right now. But as we go through district play, we're going to be covering a couple games. So we wish you the best of luck, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Thank you.
All right. That was the seniors, Justyce Wilson and Airyn Farley and Lily Nippert from the softball team. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk to the head man himself. That would be Ben Hall, about the season so far. This is the Boomer Coaches Show on Z92.
Next time you need tires, get a set designed to make getting there half the fun. BF Goodrich passenger tires combine performance-driven technology with classic American styling to create a tire that strives to deliver both outstanding handling and great looks. It's the easiest performance upgrade you can make for your car. Learn more by visiting us today. High Plains Tire has the expert tire service you need to take your car's performance to the next level. Specific performance may vary by tire model.
When a loved one, your father, your sister, your aunt, your grandparent, is facing a cancer diagnosis, you want them to have access to the most promising cancer treatments available. I'm Saniqua Martin Green, and when my mother was diagnosed with cancer, our world changed forever. I wanted to know that she was getting the best treatments available. This experience made me so passionate about spreading awareness of treatment options, including clinical trials. That's why I'm joining Stand Up to Cancer to get information to the people who need it most, those who have been diagnosed with cancer and their loved ones. Clinical trials introduce new hope for patients, providing access to cutting-edge and potentially life-saving new treatments, while patients receive the best current care or treatments available. My hope is that all people diagnosed with cancer have access to effective treatments that will make them long-term survivors, like my mom. Talk to your doctor to see if a clinical trial may be the best choice for you or a loved one. To learn more, visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials today.
Push.
There's never any pushback.
Has come to shove.
And by pushback, I mean average, ordinary citizens who are being affected by this stuff. There needs to be pushback.
The shoving match is on.
Go push those Democrats.
Weekdays at 11.
There needs to be, we're not going to put up with this. There needs to be an intolerance.
With Rush.
Whenever anybody on my side decides to try to push back, I am right in there defending.
On the Tri-States News Talk Station, Z92.
And welcome back to the Boomer Coaches Show. Brock Campbell alongside Tyler Riggs. And now we're joined by the head coach of the softball team, Coach Ben Hall. Good to see you again.
Thank you for having us on today.
No problem. Hey, you guys have had a bit of a break from playing Arnett last week, and you had Western Heights forfeited because they're not playing sports right now, and then Guthrie suspended last night due to lightning.
Right.
What have you really, guys, what have you been working on to help these girls along improve as they start navigating the district part of their schedule?
To be honest with you, just mostly being disciplined, not being so out there with our errors. The first half of the season, we were making goofy mistakes, but now that we probably have played, 28 games now, I think we have gotten over those goofy mistakes. Now, that's not to say we're not going to make some, because we will, but for the most part, we've been working on just staying disciplined.
Well, and you talking on that discipline, Coach, we heard the girls mention you guys are maybe focusing a little bit more towards small ball, and we heard you talk about a few weeks ago how you're just, you're ripping some of these hits.
Yes.
And, we experienced it firsthand with Arnett.
We heard what you told us on the coach episode.
Absolutely.
It's just right at people.
We're kind of like last night with Guthrie. We were just hitting rockets. Hard ground balls is what I preach, because a pop-up in the outfield's an out. But to hit a really hard ground ball, you've got to do a lot of things right. And last night, the girls were just hitting shots right to the third baseman, right to the shortstop. They were sticking their gloves out and hoping for the best. And unfortunately for us, they came up with the plays most of the time. But you can't get mad at the girls because they're doing what they're asked to do. The ball's just not finding the gaps right now. But I tell them, keep doing it, and it will start to fall in the gaps. There's no question, because it always does.
Is that basically what you're doing to keep this team's morale up? Just
Absolutely.
say, keep doing what you're doing. Is there anything else that you're telling the girls?
Not really. This bunch of girls, this team has no quit in them. They could be down 28-0, and they're still going to fight until the last pitch. That's what's been so refreshing with this group is they have not quit. The record doesn't indicate that, but like I said the last time I was here, our record is really not indicative of the success that we've had thus far. But you mentioned small ball.
Yeah.
Small ball for softball is an enormous part of the game. Something that has gotten overlooked the past few years because we've had really good hitters that hit bombs, and power hits. So as a coaching staff, that's probably on us for not continuing to teach the small ball and really emphasize it. Because that wins and loses ball games. It just does. You lay down a bunt to move runners, put the runners in scoring position. You get a girl that comes up and hits one to the gap, that's going to score 2 and not just 1. Had that happen to us last night, actually. So, yes, small ball is an enormous part of the game that I think the girls struggle sometimes with because they want to hit the home run. They want to hit the hard line drive. They don't understand that laying down a bunt to move a runner is just as important, probably more important at times than hitting that gapper.
And I have to agree. Whenever the coach told me to sacrifice, I'm like, come on, coach.
Oh, they hate it. They absolutely hate it.
It's going to kill my average. It's going to kill my stats.
And they don't get on base.
And they don't
so
get on
that
base.
Reward for that girl isn't there. But the reward for the team is, and that's what we're teaching, just continuing to do what we're doing, trying to stay focused, trying to do the little things right. Because if you do the little things right, the big things will come along.
When you go to these tournaments, do you find the girls kind of maybe studying the teams that are really good this year just to see what they do good and see if they can perfect it?
Yes and no. There's a part of me that really wants to go watch and scout teams, but there's a part of me that says, you know what, that doesn't matter because it's how we play.
Right.
it's really hard to get motivated when you're watching another team do things really well, because we need to do that same thing. So I want to focus on our team and not another team.
Right.
Plus, to ask the girls to go do that when they don't want to is a hard thing to do. Because, I mean, let's be honest, they don't want to go watch another team play because they want to be playing at that time.
Sure.
So it's tough to get them motivated to do that.
Well, let's talk about your schedule upcoming. Probably a 99.9% chance we're not going to play tomorrow.
No, our field is probably as wet as I've ever seen it.
And then you said even Tuesday with Guyman coming into town, if we don't get some sun on the field,
right? Well,
that could be iffy.
Now, fortunately, we have some stuff we can put on the field to dry it up, but some sunshine and some wind, northwest Oklahoma wind, would really do it good.
Let's talk about your district games coming up. Guyman being the one on Tuesday. You've already got one loss to them. We'll talk. What is it about them that you need to key on? What are some things you need to do against them?
Well, not only them, but everybody. We need to hit the ball.
Yeah.
Because we know we're going to give up some runs. We know that. But if we can earn more runs than the other team, we win, right?
Yeah.
So
that's the name of the game.
So what do we have to do? We have to hit the ball.
Right.
And at times we struggle to do that for whatever reason. We may have a slower pitcher that we're facing. The slower pitchers are harder to hit than the fast pitchers.
That Arnett pitcher, Brooklyn Bayless,
yeah.
that changeup, I have never seen one
Brooklyn
like that.
has some great changeups. So you get a pitcher that has some pop to her and then a changeup.
Yep.
I mean, the changeup's the best pitch in softball. I mean, hands down.
And that's what she was doing, our hitters that night. She was throwing the outside pitch high and outside to set up that change.
Absolutely.
And we just never could adjust to it.
Because hitting is all about timing. If you disrupt their timing, if you disrupt the hitter's timing with a changeup, then it's game on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's done. So, but as for Guyman, just hit the ball, stay focused, and run the bases well. That's another thing that we have to focus on is running the bases well and not making any mistakes on the bases, because in order to score runs, you have to have base runners.
And that's another stat that gets way overlooked.
Absolutely. Base running is an enormous part of the game.
Well, let's shift focus. I wanted to kind of ask how Libby's doing at college. She's not
Lizzie,
or Lizzie, excuse me, Libby.
No,
I'm all sorry.
No, that's fine.
Lizzie, she's obviously probably not playing because she went to a smaller college, or is she? Or is she playing? She is.
This is D2 school. They are practicing. They're doing everything that they would normally do. They have to wear face coverings.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's pretty normal there. At Arkansas Tech.
Very nice.
Yep.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on again. Everything that you give us good insight on your team.
Absolutely.
We love coming out and broadcasting for you. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to be able to do it tomorrow, but we will.
Probably not. So, right.
Anyways, Coach, I appreciate you coming on.
All right, guys. Thank you.
And that was Coach Ben Hall, the head softball coach. On the other side of the break, we're going to have the cheap connection, the frugal connection. Sam and Max are going to be on with us after this break. You're listening to the Boomer Coaches Show on Z92.
Hello, I'm Ernie Hudson. Sometimes I play a hero in the movies and on TV, but what I'm most proud of is being a hero for my 4 kids. I did that by beating cancer twice. And as a dad, there's nothing I wouldn't do to protect my kids from cancer. The human papillomavirus, or HPV, can cause 6 types of cancer. That's why every parent needs to know there's an HPV vaccine, and it can stop cancer before it starts. Girls and boys should get the vaccine at 11 or 12, and there's a catch-up option for teens and young adults. Over 40,000 new cases of HPV-related cancer will be diagnosed this year. Together, we can change those numbers. Be a hero. Call your child's doctor today and ask about the HPV vaccine. Getting tested for cancer saved my life. Getting your son or daughter vaccinated could save theirs. For more information, go to preventcancer.org.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Long Shots here live at Long Shots Bar and Grill. Brock Campbell, Tyler Riggs, and it's the High Plains Tire Coaches Show. So now we're joined by the Cheap Connection. I say frugal connection. So Sam Cheap, the sophomore, right?
Yeah.
And then Max Cheap, the senior, and got some brothers on the show with us tonight. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Good. Max, first I want to start with you. You haven't been in football for a couple of years. So how excited were you to get back on the gridiron for the first time in a few years this last week?
I was pretty excited. I was nervous probably until that first play went off. That first 3 and out we had on defense, then I got pretty pumped up and was ready to play.
Yeah, I got pretty pumped up too when we got 3 and out on defense against Clinton. Especially we didn't give up a touchdown on the first play of the game, and for the most part we defended that Clinton sweep all night. They really maybe had, I told my partner, they had maybe 2 plays of 10 or more yards with that Clinton sweep, but what was the key to stopping that sweep?
Well, we've been scheming for them pretty much since we got back into football. I mean, we had linebackers, we walk them down so we can try and contain that from them bouncing outside.
Yeah, pushing back inside. Well, Sam, let's talk about your second year with Coach Luetjen. What has been the biggest learning curve for you, not just a quarterback, but you're also a wide receiver too?
Yeah, well, last year I didn't practice any at wide receiver, and this year he told me I need to start learning it because he was going to just need me on the field somewhere. So I had to learn 5 spots this year just from.
How difficult was that, studying in the summer?
It was a little difficult because he didn't tell me till football season, so I just had a few weeks to do it, but it worked out.
He knew you were a smart kid. He knew you could handle it.
Yeah.
Max, how tough is it getting back into the groove with football? You said you were nervous, but how tough is it getting back into the groove playing football? I know you're a basketball player, but is there a difference getting back into it?
I was kind of thinking it might be kind of hard, but, I mean, no, not really.
Yeah, just your athleticism just kind of takes over.
Yeah.
I mean,
if he could survive Coach Williamson,
that's true.
He could survive anything.
That's
right?
true. The pressing 24/7, you can survive being a wide receiver, just running a couple plays, you know, per drive. Yeah, you're right. Sam, when Wyatt started having some cramping issues, and that's pretty much what it was, I don't think it was anything other than that. You got the call to go into quarterback. What thoughts were running through your mind, especially when we were down 26-7?
It's go time. That's kind of what I was thinking. I thought we still had time, and I thought we had to go start throwing the ball some, so I got loose on the sideline.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured too. You know, when I was broadcasting the game, Max, is, you know, when we were down 26-7, what was the message from the coaches? Were they still saying that, you know, stay the course despite the 5 turnovers?
Yeah, really it was all about the next play. You know, don't get your head down. Really just because, I mean, we all knew what we could do. So we just kept our head up and just kept fighting.
Now that first game's out of the way for you guys, and you got a clear picture, especially in that fourth quarter. I mean, you know, Sam, we saw what you did. Max, you started to really come on, not only offensively, but you had a really nice couple pass defenses as well there in secondary. You know, is all the jitters kind of out of the way for you guys now? You're really looking forward to Bethany this week?
Yeah, the last 4 or 3 minutes, it really showed us what we can do. Like, we hung with Clinton. We played better than Clinton those last 5 minutes of the game. So
Yeah, shout out to the kicker Daniel Pinkerton onside,
Yeah,
right?
man,
Yeah,
that was amazing.
That was a good kick.
That's exactly what I said, in the fourth quarter. Clinton, the team and their whole fans were just completely shocked. They were all sitting on their keisters, like, how the heck is this team in the game with us? So what does this team, now that we've kind of seen what we can be when we're firing all cylinders, what does this team need to focus on improving this week in preparation for Bethany? Obviously, ball security, but what else do we need to improve on?
Just going hard every play. Really, we took a few plays off, kind of got lazy. That's what caused our drop balls, our fumbles, stuff. So.
Well, and Max, for you, with that ball security, is that a thing that you're kind of, reining back in on? Obviously, you've been a basketball player, used to dribbling and stuff. Did you catch yourself sometimes going, hey, man, I got to keep this thing tough?
Yeah, I caught myself kind of bringing it out wide, because I'm bringing the basketball out.
You're a point guard, right? You're used to just getting in there and crossing somebody.
Work on tucking that a little bit more. But, we saw you defend, and we also saw you try to, go for some receptions, and we're like, yeah, Coach Wilson would be proud of that because you completely boxed out on the defense of the receiver. And is that – describe the similarities between basketball and football and how you can translate, different things into each sport.
Well, pretty much that whole game I was manned up on my guy out at corner. So, it's just like playing defense. I was just staying with him the whole time. And then that ball thrown in that corner, I saw the ball thrown up in the air. So really I was just reading his eyes the whole time. And as soon as I saw him put his hands up, I remember swatting at the ball and knocking it down. So.
And Sam, you're second-year guy now here, going into the sophomore season. Obviously, you've been asked to do a lot already here as a sophomore, though. But you've handled it to this point. How do you think you are in your development? What do you still really want to improve on here?
I want to improve more on being able to read the defense, pre-snap read. I want to know what coverage they're in, what holes their defensive line is lined up in, and just so if I need to pull it, I can pull it and run it, and if not, I can just give it. We can go for a few yards.
Well, now we got Bethany this week, and they're 0-2 on the year after going 11-1 last year. They lost a ton in production last year, the 14 seniors, I believe, 17 starters. This is a game that's very winnable now for the Boomers, and I think you kind of maybe opened some eyes with people with what happened at Clinton because everybody was like, ooh, they only lost by 5, So let's talk about what we need to do to go up to Bethany and get a win. It looks like they may be a little younger in the secondary, so depending on if you're wide receiver or quarterback, looks like we might be able to exploit their young secondary. Is that what you're seeing on film?
Yeah, their secondary, just based off film, they look really inexperienced. They stand flat-footed a lot and let a lot of stuff go over the top of them.
And having said that, they're really good in the trenches. I know that's not your position, but they have really good. They have senior leadership in I can't remember Toll and Millspaw on the defensive line and the offensive line. How important is it to win the war in the trenches this Friday night?
It's super important. It is every week though, because if our big guys, if they keep doing their job, we'll keep marching down the field.
Well, Sam, now that you're back into playing and everything, what do you prefer more so far, offense or defense here?
Don't me.
You said Sam.
Wow.
That's
Whoops.
Max.
Sorry.
See, I'm not the only one. So anyways, Max.
Brock's rubbing off on me. Max, what do you prefer, an offense or defense so far?
Probably offense.
I knew that answer.
He wants to go score, man. He wants to get in the end zone.
Well, let's forget about, let's not talk business anymore. You guys are brothers.
Yeah.
And I just want to know if there's any sibling rivalries between you guys, like Xbox, or is there any time that you guys just want to go out and duke it out with whatever sport, see who's better?
Yeah, there are a few times where we'll go, in basketball, we'll go outside in 1v1.
Yeah, we'll duke it out in the driveway.
Yeah, we do good.
See, Sam answered that first because Max is just like, dude, I'm the older brother. I got you in check. Check.
So who's better?
I got him in pretty much everything.
I don't know about that.
Well, Sam, you're younger, and you have improved a lot. You've gotten taller. you worked on your passing. It's pretty apparent that you did. What did you do in the off season to work on your passing?
I focused on my footwork because last year I would notice like I wouldn't set my feet to throw, so it'd be like I just use my entire arm, and so this year I just focused on my footwork, made sure my feet were set before I threw the ball.
And then also, how much of a luxury is it to have two good quarterbacks, you and Wyatt, where whoever starts, you guys push each other each week just to get better? How much of a luxury is that?
Yeah, it's great because like I see him do good. It's like, oh, I got to match that. Yeah, I got to stay in the game with him, and it's always competition every week.
Well, Max, now that you are playing with your brother on the gridiron here, what's that like in practice and everything? Do you guys have to kind of, keep it professional, or you giving each other, a little bit of ribs back and forth there in practice?
Yeah, I mean, we act like brothers, obviously, still in practice.
But if they act too bad, they have to run hallways. I found that out on Huddle today. So, yeah, speaking of practice today, you were inside, but you were in pads still.
Yes.
How did that work?
Well, we just kept it the same, but we were just in a smaller space. We just don't hit the ground.
We're still hitting, pretty much wrapping up. Just
like
not
inside, where was practice today?
Practice gym.
So. Oh, practice gym. Okay. All right, cool.
These guys are tough. They do it inside.
Well, you've seen him scramble on the floor in basketball for about. I mean, he doesn't care about diving for anything. Well, guys, I appreciate you coming on. Good luck this Friday against Bethany, and we'll talk to you down the road.
All right, thank you.
All right, that was the Cheap Connection, Cheap Trick, Sam Cheap, and Max Cheap. And on the other side of the break, we're going to have the head man himself again, Coach Rick Luetjen, is going to be with us. This is the Boomer Coaches Show on Z92.
Why watch the big games alone when you could stop by Longshots Bar and Grill to catch all the action? Longshots offers the best entertainment in Northwest Oklahoma and is open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m., and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Enjoy live music, great food, and drinks while you catch all the big games. There's always fun to be had at Longshots Bar and Grill. Call 580-256-1467 to book your next birthday bash or big reunion, then come on down to 810 Main Street to party with Longshots Bar and Grill.
Our connections make powerful things happen, uniting individuals and communities. We are Rotary. We are people of action. And together, we turn great ideas into reality by accessing our networks, our experience, and the best of ourselves to make a difference. Around the world, Rotary brings leaders together to build new friendships and to solve problems. Like in Austria, where generations work side by side to build sustainable housing and community centers. In India, volunteers run a mobile blood bank to help provide a steady blood supply for their local community. And in Taiwan, people are working hard to get vulnerable citizens the support and services they need. With over 1 million members, we know what people can do when they come together. Take action with us. Find out more at rotary.org/action.
Russia is interfering in the 2020 campaign.
Russia trying to interfere.
Russia was already interfering in the 2020 campaign to try to get President Trump reelected.
Russia is now interfering in the 2020 election.
Rush is.
I almost feel like I shouldn't admit this. What the heck? I am.
Actively working to get President Trump reelected.
You want to talk about election meddling?
Weekdays at 11.
Can I say that? I guess I already did.
On the Tri-States News Talk Station, Z92.
And welcome back to the High Plains Tire Boomer Coaches Show. Brock Campbell alongside Tyler Riggs. And now we're joined by the head man himself. That's head coach Rick Luetjen. And Coach, tough one at Clinton. We let one get away, but we ran out of time, however. But when you have 5 turnovers, it's going to be hard to beat anybody. What were your observations from the game, and what was your message after the game to the boys?
Well, I mean, we saw a lot of really good things, and I was real impressed, first and foremost, with our defense all night long. I thought they played extremely well, not near the disaster we had last year when we went up there, and they didn't run over us. We were physical. We fought back, and we played them really well on defense. We don't give them a short field on the one touchdown they did get, and we probably shut them out the first half.
Mm-hmm.
But Obviously game one you're going to have turnovers and some situations like that you have to fight through, and I think they might have had one and we had the 5, so that played a big part of it. And I know it killed the drive that we had going that would have, been productive, I think. And, the other ones was more putting them in good field position as opposed to keeping us from scoring. So, I don't think we can really sit there and say that we would have scored another 20 points or anything like that. But, we keep them from scoring one, we win. We score one, we win. So I was just proud of the effort the kids put forth and stayed battling all night long. I felt like we were in better shape, and attrition started taking over, for them, and they were losing kids left and right, and our kids were still battling, and it gave us an opportunity. Another 5 minutes on the clock, and I think it would have been a different ball game.
Yeah, we were kind of feeling that same vibe. This team is just different already from last year. This team how did the team stay focused even when they were down 26-7 and stay the course? That's a credit to not only them but also you as coaches. But it says a lot about this team. Describe how proud you were of the fourth quarter comeback, and then Daniel Pinker giving us a chance along with that gritty defense to win the game despite all the turnovers.
Yeah, like I said, they just kept battling, and we kept telling them, said, hey, they're struggling, they're losing kids left and right. We just need to keep fighting the good fight, and we came out in the fourth quarter, and I think we started to kind of impose our will a little bit. Our defense stayed strong all the way through, and didn't give up any. Struggled a little bit there in the third quarter, and we gave up a few that we shouldn't have, and. But, we had a chance to win the football game, and, we got the first score. Daniel had a great onside kick, had another great onside kick after the second score, but they had 20 over there that time, and he was able to get his hands on it and secure it for him. But then we still got the ball back with, a little bit of time left on the clock, and we weren't able to get it down the field that time. But I'm very proud of the effort the kids put in. I'm not a big moral victory guy, so I can't say, it was a moral victory for us because it was a loss. And, we need to win football games, and that's what our goal is. And hopefully we can get that fixed this Friday and get a win.
Well, and Coach, focusing back on that defense, we've obviously seen the improvement. We talked about the improvement going into year 2 of everybody just being more comfortable. How big of an advantage is it to now really hone in on scheming for certain opponents as opposed to year 1 where guys were still trying to figure out the base defense a bit?
Well, it's a whole lot better, but you also got to keep in mind that there's only a couple starters on that side of the ball that started last year or played much. And so it's still a brand-new group of kids. And but even though they were backups last year, they were getting reps and they were learning the defense. So, we're way ahead of the game as far as where we were last year. If we'd had a spring ball, I think we'd even be farther ahead, but can't really say that because everybody else didn't get spring either. But we would be a little better off where we're at. But our kids, I thought, executed really well. We made some changes going into the Clinton game because we knew they were a run-heavy team, and we brought our 2 outside linebackers up, and Coach D and Coach Warner, I thought, did a great job of, scheming and having things ready for them, and to be able to shut their toss sweep down like we did all night long, has a lot to be said for the execution that the kids put in and the plan we had going into it.
I asked Sam this question just a minute ago, but I wanted to ask you the same question. Talk about what a luxury it is to have 2 good quarterbacks in this offense. Wyatt Pope goes down with some cramping issues, and then enter Sam Cheap, and he just starts where Wyatt left off. Talk about how what a luxury that is to have 2 QBs that can run the offense.
Well, it is, and some people think it's always a bad thing to have a quarterback controversy.
Right.
I've never felt that way because I feel like if you've got 2 guys that can do the job, then that allows you to play them in other places, like Wyatt starting at linebacker for us. Usually I wouldn't put a senior going both ways until maybe his senior year, but I sure wouldn't do it if I didn't feel like we had a quality backup kid that was ready to go, that was about even with him anyway. And so, when Wyatt started, struggling a little bit going both ways, and and started feeling some of the cramping issues and stuff like that. We knew Sam was fresh and ready to go, and he came right in and did a great job. They both do, and you know, they're battling it out again this week, and you know, we'll see how it goes when we step out there Friday. But Sam's been doing a good job. He's been getting the majority of the reps this week, but we also know that we can put Wyatt in there on the second series of the game and be in just as good a shape.
Well, we're going to talk about the opponent on the other side of this break. It's our final break. We're going to talk about the Bethany Broncos, who's the Boomers' opponent on Friday, and we're going to take our final break. You're listening to the Boomer Coaches Show on Z92.
Life never stops moving. Between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety you expect, you can lose track of the miles and focus on what really matters, the memories made along the way. Stop in today at 2220 Main in Woodward to see your local Michelin dealer, Pipe Lanes Tire.
If you came across a child struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you recognize a 13-year-old boy who gets into fights at school?
Not because he's a boy, but because he's hungry?
Or a 2-year-old girl who cries all night, not because she's sick,
but because she went to bed without enough to eat?
Or maybe a 9-year-old boy who hopes their friend invites him to a sleepover, not for fun, just so he can have dinner. Or a 15-year-old girl who goes for walks over lunch,
so her friends won't know she doesn't have anything to eat?
I am the 1 in 7 American children who struggle with hunger. Kids you pass by every day, but never knew were hungry. I am Child Hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shelley Flace with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. The nicotine in e-cigarettes is addictive and can harm brain development. That's why I worry about teens who try e-cigarettes. Many young people use pod-based e-cigarettes like Juul, which have high levels of nicotine. And because teens' brains are still developing, they can quickly become addicted. The tobacco industry uses fruit and candy flavors to attract young people, often turning them into lifelong users. For more, visit healthychildren.org.
Welcome back to the Boomer Coaches Show by High Plains Tire. Brock Campbell, Tyler Riggs, and head coach Rick Luetjen have a little bit of a laugh in the break. Anyways, but let's talk about Bethany, Coach. They are 0-2 on the season, and they've replaced 17 starters on the team from last year that went 11-1. What do we have to do to, they've got some young talent, but what do we have to do to get ready for Bethany?
Well, Bethany's been on a pretty good run here the last several years now, and they're one of those teams that reloads pretty quick, when they, of course, they're taking a huge graduation loss from last year and some really good talent from last year, but like I said, they seem to always reload. But the biggest thing that I've noticed, and I know all of us as coaches have noticed, is just how athletic and how fast they are.
Mm-hmm.
And, they always have athletic kids. They can always run and things like that. But, they had a pretty decent nucleus of kids coming back that's kind of held them together on both sides of the ball. They've played 2 extremely tough football teams.
Yes.
I mean, Jones, without a doubt, has been one of the top teams in the last 7-8 years now, and they're one of the best teams in Class 3A. And then John Marshall, I think they'll be a team that'll have a shot of winning the whole thing in 4A this year, and they got that Arkansas receiver that's just phenomenal. So it's not like they played anybody that was a slouch and got beat. They played 2 really good football teams and really played them pretty well. So we're going to have to be on top of our game to be able to stay with them, I think.
Yeah, it looks like they're pretty strong up front on the line of scrimmage. You got Millspaw, 6'3", 285, offensive lineman. Also Peyton Toll at defensive end on the defense at 6'7", 240. How important is it going to be to win the war in the trenches?
I think it's going to be big because I really feel like that's going to have to be a little bit more of our forte this week, is we're going to have to be able to run the football. I mean, they're so good in the back end. We're going to have to win the battle up front. And I think if we can run the football on them and keep them honest up there, that it's going to be in our favor and not get ourselves in a situation where we're in 3rd and long trying to throw the ball when they know we're going to be throwing the football, because they're going to be pretty tough to throw against in that situation. Now, if we're in 2nd and short and we're throwing the football, then I think we'll have success. And, the RPO is always going to be there as long as we read it right and make good decisions like we did last week. I thought Wyatt made some really good decisions on the RPO, and that's kind of his strength, and it's getting better for Sam, and I think that's going to be something he'll get better with more reps. But, that's one of those things that's always there if you read it right. Now, if you don't read it right, then it can be, bad news and take a sack or throw a pick. But I think we're going to have to run the ball up front a little bit, and I think they're blockable up front for our guys.
And defensively, they have some good receivers, Malaska. I'm trying to think some other names, but the one that really stands out for me is Toll. He's a tight end, wide receiver, also split out.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be a key to defend at that 6'7", 240 frame. How important is that going to be to defend him? Because he's a really good athlete offensively as well.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, he's a little suspect on defense, but offensively he's a big threat for him, and they'll spread him all the way up to the sideline, and they'll bring him all the way back in the box and run him out of that tight end spot. So he's going to be a matchup, difficulty for us. The biggest thing is if he ends up on the right side and we got a guy like Max on him or something like that, we're going to be in pretty good shape, because Max plays a lot taller than what he is, and he's played enough basketball. Zach's played enough basketball. Taylor's played enough basketball that they know how to, defend guys that are bigger and stronger than they are.
And that's exactly what the question we asked Max, what the similarities from basketball to football. Yeah. That's why you want basketball players to come out for football.
Always, absolutely always. They just have those great instincts to them, and it's unbelievable how much better their hands are, because in football it's just those few receivers that catches balls every now and then. Basketball guys are catching a ball all the time. I mean, whether it's a pass or whatever, they're catching balls all the time, and their hands are always better than what football players are typically.
Let's quickly talk about keys to the ball game.
Well, I think we're going to have to defend them well. I think we're going to have to try to keep the score low. I don't think we can give them a 40, 50-point game. If we do something like that, we're going to have trouble trying to stay with them. Can't get in track meet with them. We got to try to, get some 3-and-outs with them and stuff like that. And then offensively, I think we need to be real careful and not get ourselves in 3-and-out situations and be able to run the football. And if we can get some chunk yardage, 4, 5, 6, 7 yards on some of our run game, and be able to move the chains a little bit, then I think we'll be a lot better off than if we just give it up real quick.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on as usual, and we'll talk to you on Friday.
All right, sounds good.
And that was Coach Rick Luetjen. We're going to keep it right here as we're going to kind of give our final thoughts as we go week 2 for the Boomers, 0-1 to Bethany. Like Coach said, it's going to be a difficult task. It's a winnable task, though, with Bethany coming in 0-2.
Yeah, well, just like the Clink game, it's going to teach you a lot about where you are in the early season. Win or lose, as we've illustrated, this is a talented team. Despite all losses that they incurred with their graduating class, this is a team where you could really measure yourself against and say, okay, this is where we still need to work on ourselves at, and this is where we may be ahead a little bit at compared to where we wanted to be.
Well, the Boomers will be at Bethany on Friday night. A pregame is to be 6:30 and a 7 o'clock kickoff. I want to thank all of my guests that have come on tonight on our Boomers Coaches Show tonight, and all of you that have listened to us as well. So with that, we're going to say so long. Have a great night. Let's bring the boom on Friday. Go Boomers. This has been the Boomer Coaches Show on Z92.